that this planet was small. We used to live in the same building on the same floor. And never met before until I'm overseas on tour. And peep this Ethiopian queen from Philly taking classes abroad. She studying film and photo flash focus record. Says she working on a flick and cut my clip through the score. She says she loved my show in Paris at Elise Momar. And that I stepped off the stage and took a piece of her heart. We knew from the start that things fall apart. It tends to shatter. She like, that shit don't matter when I get home. Get at her through letter phone. Whatever, let's get together. Shit, you think I think the door go home and forgot. Time passed, we back in Philly. Now she up in my spot. Telling me the things I'm telling her is making her hot. Started building with her.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of No Running in the Halls with your host, me, Chavez, for episode 8 of The State. What's up, Marley? How you doing? Thanks for joining. Wow, so I had an extremely busy day. I had an extremely busy day. Some would say kind of a corrupt day. So I was out Monday from work. Happy Wednesday to everyone. Is it Wednesday? It's Thursday. It's Thursday. So Monday I was out taking a content specialty test, so I took a personal day. And then I also was not feeling well on let me bring this closer. I also wasn't feeling well on Tuesday and Wednesday, so I took the day off, got a doctor's note. So let me tell you about my day today, man. Oh, it's crazy. Let me fix this camera. Okay, let's bring it in a little bit closer. Sorry about this, guys. All right, here we go. There we go. Much better. All right, so let me tell you about my day today before we get into the discussion of the topic at hand. So I came into work today. I was pretty bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and I really can't begin to tell you how how sometimes the day can go awry. You know, I'm not going to sit here and tell everyone my problems, and I'm not going to bash anybody. But I will say this, when you're bombarded at work with tons of, oh no, terrible. Let me grab these real quick. Hold on. Okay, there we go. Let me fix this little problem that I have because it. Cool. Got it. Okay. All right. Let me continue my story of my day. So I was completely bombarded with a lot of work as I had been off for 3 days, and we were off that Friday. I definitely thought that I had a lot of work to do when I got back into the building. And I will say this, man, you know what? There's never any room for error where no matter how you're feeling or what kind of state of mind you're in or how your mental health is working, it always becomes pretty apparent that no one really gives a shit. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You have a job to do. I was in the military, and it was like that too. But it's two separate things that we're talking about: military versus education. So it's an interesting interesting correlation of events. How no matter what's going on in your life, whether it's a death in the family or an illness or mental health or just overwhelmed or maybe bombarded with a lot of work, most people can honestly say that they don't need any extra pressure added to them. But here we go with work being one of those added pressures. So I want to go ahead and shout out to all the Department of Education teachers who deal with this every day, because honestly, man, it's a challenge every day, and I can't imagine not understanding what you all go through, which is one of the reasons why I started this show. and this podcast because I want everyone to know that I get it. I identify with you. I understand. I want people to understand that I do this for change. I do this for a little bit of understanding on the back end. And if you do feel the same way that I do, man, please feel free to comment, share your ideas, share your thoughts. I really I'm interested. So today I was given sorry, not given. I was phoned during class today, and it was about a meeting that I had to take care of with a student, and it was two administrators. It was like almost like a sneak attack, and I was in the middle of class, and it was interesting. I was kind of confused. I said, "Wow, how how is it that that was okay? That you took me out of my teaching zone as I was monitoring the assessments of some of my students to talk about an IEP meeting that was made and was never actually administered. Right? It was confusing to me at best, but I will say that um, for the most part, um, I think I handled it well, and I I understand that everyone has a job to do, but humanity comes first, and I don't know if anybody cares about humanity, but I do. And sometimes you have to leave well enough alone and let people try to do their jobs to the best of their ability. That's all I really want to say about that. Um, if anyone out there is listening and has joined the live show that we're on, uh, feel free to comment. It's not a crime to comment, and certainly no penalization of it. We all have opinions about our jobs. I'm sure we all do. So, first thing I want to do is I want to shout out Grim Breweries for doing such a fantastic job on their sours. I wholeheartedly believe that Grim is one of the many breweries that I enjoy going to not just hang out but sell my product to. This one is an amazing one. It's called Super Chance. It's one of their sours. Come check it out. It's in Williamsburg on Metropolitan. Don't be shy. Anyway, so let's get into it. So today's episode is called The State. So for all you non-teachers out there, you probably don't know what that means, but I'm going to fill you in real quick. The state is titled this way because we are going to be talking about the New York State Department of Education, not so much the city, but the state of New York, how it all works, how it all goes down. The subtitle of it is do they really care about the teachers? That's a question. That's a question. And I promised myself I wouldn't ever do a show where I bash the Department of Education, the very institution I work for. And I promise you today that's not what my intentions are. My intentions are to be very frank and also to be very truthful, as I've been in the past. So we have January, February, March, April, and now we're on to May. I'm into my 5th month of having personally interacted with the Department of the State Department of Education of New York. Let me first off say that in the midst of all this, I am now a changed man, completely, utterly changed. You know, I have a business of my own, and hey, what's up, Jody? Sorry, I didn't see you there. Oh, okay, there we go. What's up, Jody? So I have a business of my own, and the way I believe anyone makes money is to have good camaraderie with their clients, to also be able to communicate well and to make really, really good decisions on the fly, and to know that you have somebody on the other end making valid points, and those valid points being identified in the conversation. So let's start from the beginning. So if anybody out there that doesn't know me, I've been teaching for 9 years. I'm trying to get in my 10th year in the year 2023 to 2024. At the moment, I am not completely certified as I have missed a portion of my content specialty exam, part two, actually. So there's three parts. And part two is a math section. And the math section is very difficult to pass. Now, if you're not a mathematician or math isn't your strongest subject, you're probably going to find yourself in a precarious position. You might not know what to do. Hey, what's up, Haley? Nice always to see you. You're such a sweetheart. You might find yourself in a precarious position because the math that is asked of you to do to pass to become a teacher is intensely hard. And I say this as a person who has a high IQ, and I am a pretty smart individual. I mean, I have 2 master's degree. I don't know what that means, but I paid for them, so I'm gonna go ahead and talk about that. The 2 master's degrees that I have are relevant to my career. So I don't think this content specialty exam does anything for my pedagogical prowess. I go to work every day and I teach science to 7th graders, and that was what I was asked to do. And I teach it to students with disabilities, all kinds of disabilities, physical, emotional, and intellectual. Now, when you're taking a multi-subject, when you're trying to get an extension certification in a multi-subject degree, you're basically saying that I am able to teach all 4 subjects to students with disabilities, whether they're physical, emotional, or intellectual. If I showed you this test, you would be overwhelmed, unsure of yourself, and insecure, almost like you were smoking weed for the first time in your life. And let me tell you how difficult this test is. A person like me has failed it 4 times. And I failed it, but not by a lot. The parts that I did well are the parts that are written where you have to figure out a scenario. And I've done that well. I've actually scored really well, but that doesn't matter. In light of the situation, I have been in talks with nobody but one person for the State Department of Education that calls themselves a certification specialist. I laugh because that's not what they are. Actually, it couldn't be more further from the truth. So let's call this field, this job, this I don't know what do you call it? It's like it's a job title, right? So let's call it messenger. They're messengers, right? And they have to be this because the state doesn't want to talk to you if you're a teacher. They don't want to talk to you. They won't have anything to do with you. They barely want to email you. All right. So they send these minions. The minions are people that they title certification specialists. I beg to differ. When I was in the Army, a specialist had a job to do. And when you asked them about their job or how to do their job, they were very poignant about what they did. They were very informative about what they did. And they did this job and they did it, but they didn't do any other job. Now, certification specialist leads me to believe that you have some pull. You can say things, you can offer things, and make things happen. But that's really not the case. So before I continue, this is not. I want to say this episode is not for the teacher that exists. This is for up and coming teachers, because the teachers that exist can make a decision. They can say, wow, I got to jump through all these hoops, and I have to take all these exams, and I have to sit through all these seminars. But I've already got my foot in the pool, so I might as well continue, and whatever happens, happens. So for all you up and coming teachers coming out of high school and coming into the real world, making decisions about what you want to do with your life, making career moves, listen to me. I say this with 10 years experience because I'm appointed for 9 years, but I've seen a lot of different sides of education, both in the charter school, the parochial school, and the New York City public school. And I'm going to tell you that the horror stories that I've heard would make anyone want to run away crying and screaming for help. Now, I told you I wasn't going to make this a bashing post, so I won't do it. I'm just going to give you cold, hard facts, and you take it the way you want it to be. I had a bad day today, but I'm going to put aside how I felt about the way my day was handled today. And I'm not going to mention names. I'm not going to mention anything. I'm going to tell you the cold, hard facts. And just so you know, I took notes just so I can tell you all. Now, those that I work with know what I'm talking about, and those that I work with can agree or disagree. That's up to them. I give a fuck if they do or not. But if they do, they understand the reality of it. And those who don't are just fooling themselves. And those who are on the job for a long time and have very little time left before retirement, I get why you would not be an advocate of this topic. But let's just go down the line for new up and coming teachers. Okay, I hope you guys are ready. Here we go. To be a teacher in the New York City Department of Education, you have to obtain a 4-year bachelor degree in an accredited school, because I know for sure that if you went and got your 4-year degree at DeVry or University of Phoenix, and I know because I spoke to this person firsthand, and it was only one, but it was definitely firsthand, that they would trash that resume and throw it out the window if you went to a university or college that was on a commercial on TV. So if you want to be a teacher, go to Queens College. Go to St. John's. Spend a fortune on St. John's. Go to Hunter. Go to York. Go to Baruch. Go to any school that does education. But don't go to DeVry or Phoenix or SHNU. Don't do it. Because if you're anything like the person I spoke to, you'll have your resume trashed. After your 4-year degree, you must get a master's degree, which takes 2 years. For me, it took 3 because it's expensive as fuck. Now, if you want to bypass a 4-year and a 2-year, possibly 3-year, you could go do a teaching fellows. And the teaching fellows will get you everything you need in 5 years. But that means you have to do everything they say. You still have to take everything else afterwards, but at least you're done in 5 years, right? That's the trade-off, right? So you got 4-year bachelor, 2 or 3-year masters, or you can do a teaching fellows for 5 years. Okay, let's move on. After you've done that, you have to go into exams. So there's something called the ATSW, there's something called the LAST, and then there's your CST, content specialty course, applicable to the course or subject area you want to teach. I'm going to stop there and give you some examples of teachers that I spoke with about content specialty and how difficult it is, and sometimes biased, and probably not even it has nothing to do with the subject matter or the grade level you're teaching. I've spoken with many people and heard how difficult this test is. Your content specialty course or your content specialty exam is based on the subject you're going to teach. But if you're teaching grades in middle school, the test you're taking is not middle school relevant. I'm going to say that as through experience. And when I get to CST, multi-subject special education, you'll know what I mean. So with these three tests, they're about $60 to $70 a piece. I can't begin to tell you that the process in doing so is that you spend the money on this test. You schedule your test wherever these tests are available. They go through Pearson's View, which is a testing facility, not just for education, but for many other things. Hey, what's up, Chris? Maria, how are you? Thanks for joining. Sorry, I didn't look up right away. So when you go in there and you don't pass it, you can take it as many times as you want. The problem with it is you have to pass it, but you also keep paying for it. And you don't get your results back for 3 weeks. And until that result comes back, you can't take another test. No. You can't keep taking them. You have to wait for that result. Pretty shitty if you ask me. If it's a hard test, you should be able to take it whenever you want. That's just my opinion. We're moving now on to special education. When you want to become a special education teacher, when you want to change the lives of students that have emotional, physical, and intellectual disabilities, you have to do all of that as well. And in the content specialty course for multi-subject teachers, you have to take it as a 3-part test. Sorry, I have 3 fingers up, not 4. You have a math content, ELA and social studies, and science. Science can be killed because the content is not that terrible. ELA and social studies, same thing. It's still hard, but if you're an educator, if you've gone to school, if you paid attention to school, you'll be okay. The math for me was absolutely irritating because for a special education teacher that is teaching most of the kids that have disabilities, not just intellectual, but emotional and physical, all of which are valid, those kids are not learning that kind of material, nor are you teaching it. That's just me. Been there, done that, right? But then, if you don't finish it, right, and you're having trouble, because they will give you a certification, an initial certification for the first 5 years without them even knowing what it is that your concentration is in. You will have a due date, an expiration date. So, for instance, my expiration date was January 31st, and I was unaware that this was happening. So, January 31st was my expiration date, and my first notice was in December that previous year. So that gives you about a month, maybe a little bit more. I'll give it to them. It was a little over a month. But because of what I just told you, that the test is only given once and then you have to wait for the results for you to take it again, that doesn't really leave you a lot of wiggle room. So your state says, pass this test or don't, but you can't take it again until you get your results back. And when you do and you fail, you can take it again, but beware. You're going to pay for it again. And you're going to take it as many times as you can. But we don't give a fuck if you pass or not, because if you don't, you're out of here. And if you do, good luck. Moving forward. So at the start, you'll be evaluated. Oh, I'm sorry. If you pass your CST and you're already hired, as a new teacher, you will get evaluated 4 times out of the year. Mandatory. It's in the contract. Here's my problem with that. If you're a good teacher and you've done all that you can in your college years, where you're supposed to be educated on your future endeavors as an educator. Now, I disagree. Queens College didn't teach me dick. It really didn't. And I paid attention. Queens College says they're a school of education, primarily, but I disagree. Because they taught me nothing to be a teacher. They taught me content, which I could have easily found on my own. But did they teach me how to be a teacher? I disagree. If anyone has a comment on that, bring it, because I was there. It doesn't do that. They don't teach you how to be a teacher. My master's program also didn't teach me how to be a teacher. I wrote papers for arbitrary things. My extension that I took randomly in Xavier High School, the Adria Hotel, the Hilton conference rooms, those people taught me things, but not my 4-year and my master's at all. Feel free to comment on that if you agree. Moving forward, you're going to be evaluated 4 times in your first year, where an administrator is going to tell you, no matter how good you think you are, you're not going to get a highly effective rating or even effective rating. You're going to get a developing because you're new. They haven't even seen you teach yet, and this is what they'll tell you. So no matter what you do, no matter how prepared you are, and I have colleagues that I work with that are prepared. These people I admire. Shout out to Velasquez. And I will say that you cannot fathom being in a classroom with an administrator in the room on your first year, expecting, no matter how great your lesson went, no matter how many times you read Danielson, no matter how many times you checked off all the boxes of what you were supposed to do, you're going to get a developing because you're a new teacher and we need to see growth. And that's fucked up because you didn't go to school for 4 years for a bachelor's, 2 years for a master's, and then 6 seminars. Sorry, I failed to mention that earlier. 6 seminars about nothing. And then 3, maybe even 6, if you're a multi-subject teacher, paid for exams to sit there and get an expected developing. Now, if you're a teacher and you know what developing is an observational checkbox that says you did pretty good, but here's where you need work. And I understand that. I would expect that every day of your life is a learning experience. I would expect that every day of your life you are gaining more knowledge of something. I know I learn something every day. I know that if you're in the classroom and you hit the mark, you should be given the score that you deserve. But there are some administrators that say no matter what you do, you're getting a developing. You may have a couple of effectives. That's not fair. Because in spite of what they think, some teachers may have been in the classroom a lot longer than some of the people who have become administrators. Some people may have been in the classroom in, oh, I don't know, maybe a parochial school or a charter school, and decided that public school was where they wanted to be, and that's where they went. So now you're still a developing teacher, not based on anything more than because you're new here, not because you've had the experience before. Again, pretty fucked up. Let's move forward. Most principals, no matter how great you are um, are going to give you a developing, even if you are ultimately an effective teacher in the beginning. I can't believe that. It's really stupid. So sometimes you have to ask yourself who's on your side, right? Who's on your side? Let me be the first to tell you the only person on your side is you. And you have nobody to thank but you. You have nobody to appreciate but you. Because I have yet to step into a building where I got more compliments than I did get complaints. Not even a not even a great job, man. That was amazing. Or hey, I really like what you said to that kid. Or hey, I really admire the way that you handled that situation. Ultimately, what I go into, and I hate to admit this because it makes me sound weak, but I go into a situation of fear. Not fear that I'm losing my job, not fear that I'm going to be offended, fear that I'm not living up to the expectations that I think I am living up to based on the views and opinions or observations of somebody else. That's what I fear. Moving on. Let's talk about loans, expenses, time. If you are a teacher, you may have loans. Maybe you paid them off like a smart person, but that wasn't what I did. I have loans. I had $70,000 plus dollars worth of loans. The exams alone cost money, as though that's not a really big deal to some people. But $60 here, $60 there, $120 here, it all adds up, right? Your time, your overtime, the things that you put in, those are ultimately things that you can't get back. And I know teachers that stay in my building and work for free. I don't think you should do that. I know you love the job, because so do I. I love it more than anything. But I no longer will work for free. Nope. And it's funny, I've actually tried to do procession work, and I get shot down. I tried to make a multimedia room to enhance kids during times where they don't want to be in certain situations, aka the cafeteria. Shot down. Fair. I wish I knew other principals that did this, because then this would make this an even more intense conversation. Moving on, we have sanitation, New York City the New York City Police Department, Fire Department, UPS, and Postal Service. If I can solidify anything today, let me make this very clear. We do 4 years bachelor's, 2 years master's, 6 seminars, 3 CST, possibly 6, evaluations 2 to 4 times a year. The starting salary is not great. We work 30 years. Sanitation, New York City Police Department, Fire Department, UPS, and Postal Service. Let me give you a little insider for all you new teachers. None of those people have to do what we do. Sanitation takes one test, and if they pass, they're in. NYPD goes through intensive training and a test, and they're through. Fire department takes a fire department test, and they're through. When they want to make rank, they take another test. Whether they pass or fail, there's no stipulations, there's no repercussions. You just don't get the position. And I'm talking about sergeant, captain, lieutenant. UPS within 5 years makes 150. Sorry, 100. No, I'm lying. I'm sorry. My research shows up to 100K a year. You fill out the application online, you go to an orientation, and you're hired. No tests. In 5 years, you make six figures. Postal Service. I mean, I don't really have to say a whole lot on that. You hired, it's 3 months training, and you're left the fuck alone to do your job. I have to say that if you are trying to be a teacher, know this. You're going through what I would call torture. I don't mean it like that. You're going through a lot more than most New York City jobs do. 30 years of service, evaluations constantly. You're going to be spoken to a lot. I actually watched a teacher get reamed through the doorway about their lesson plan. Lesson plan. This lesson plan sucks. Glad you're teaching the class. It was a little ridiculous. I don't know. Speaking out of turn. If you want stress every day, if you want admin to not really give a shit, if you want colleagues to judge you, if you want to be responsible for 150 kids daily, this is the job for you. If you don't, I suggest going to work for UPS, where those things don't happen, and you can live a pretty good lifestyle. I bet you're thinking, wow, this guy's pretty bitter. I didn't used to be that way. I actually used to be really happy. I used to be really, really content going into work because I love educating kids. I love being around them. I love changing their opinions to adult views rather than kid views. I love making them aware of the world. I love challenging their brains. And I love the conversation. I live for it. But that's all pretend. It's pretend. You go in there and do that, and it's coupled with a lot of other things that are unnecessary. I have a message, and I want to make it very clear. Education is important. The youth of America is important. And when you're in that classroom, you may not believe it, but they're listening. Because when you slip up and you may say something that you didn't really want them to hear, they're listening. I became an educator to change lives. I became an educator to show kids that life is not always what they think it is. Because when I was a kid, I had a different belief of what life was like. But I was shown and taught differently. And the New York State Department of Education, it needs a lot of work. It needs repair. It needs an update. And I'm only one man, but I could use your help, man. I could use your help in recognizing that things aren't perfect. I can use your help in knowing that I'm not here for a causeless fight. I'm not here to rant on about my bad day. We all have bad days. What's up, Johnny, Utah? I'm not here to sound like a crybaby because I'm not that. I'm from the streets of Queens, man. I'm not a crybaby. I want change. The state has made it clear that they do not care about teachers. And I'll tell you why. What's up, buddy? When I was on the horn with the messenger, they stated to me, the streets, baby. It's really the streets, baby. The messenger that I spoke with made it clear to me the state didn't care. And I'll verbatim tell you the conversation. They said to me, when I was asked, there's the conversation with this person and the state. When I was asked, why do you talk to him being me? Their response was, I talk to him because he needs someone to talk to. He needs somebody to help him get through this very tumultuous time. Because I am in a situation where I could lose my position. And when I was asked, wait, give me some context here. We're talking about the state of Johnny, Utah. We're talking about the New York State Department of Education and how most people think that they're our ally, but they're not. And I have firsthand information and experiences to tell them that they're not. So this person was answering the question, why do you talk to him? Because he needs somebody to have questions answered. But when I asked them to the certification specialist, they didn't have an answer. They didn't have a solution specialist, right? But what they did have was a, wait a second, let me check. The answer was, why do you talk to this person? We don't talk to teachers. We email them and tell them we'll give them an answer when we're ready. We don't talk to the teachers. It's pretty helpful. So when a teacher is fighting for their job over one part of a 3-part exam and told a month in advance that their license is expired, we're not supposed to feel any type of way. And when we try to talk to these people, they're nowhere to be found. So if you want that kind of heartbreak in your life, if you want to be a changed person over time, become a DOE teacher. Simple. Have more work put on your desk every day. Have administrators that don't care about you. Have a state that refuses to talk to you. And have your happy medium who has a title that says specialist that does absolutely nothing. There it is in a nutshell. Now, I'm not here bashing the DOE. I love my job, but I don't love the DOE. I think the Department of Education needs a tune-up. And for all of you people who left the DOE and went on to different horizons, I'd like to know, is the grass greener on the other side? I'd like to know how the system works on that side. I think we all would. And I think that it's important that we tackle these issues because in my building, there are so many complaints. Sit in my cafeteria for 10 minutes and you'll see that. It's underwhelming and it's a problem. And that's the bulk of it. A couple other notes that I took was you have a lot of rights, but there is no union, Johnny Picaro. Yeah, our union is the UFT, and let me tell you, I have no issues with the UFT. They do the best they can. Johnny Utah, I don't think you can be fired at any time, especially if you're tenured. If you're not tenured, you could be let go of very quickly because you're on probation and you have goals and requirements that you need to make. And now it's 4 years. It used to be 3. Okay, benefits, health, and 401k and shit. Well, Johnny Utah, you looked into that and you weren't happy about it when you were there, right? That's the truth. You looked at it, you were like, wow, this kind of sucks. So you're saying the job you have right now has benefits, health, and 401k. Not the same, not as a teacher. Okay. So you're going to have to tell us what it is that you do so that we can understand. I already jotted off a list of New York City workers that do way better than us. So what is it that you do that this 401k health and benefits is better than education? Where do you work? We're hearing from Johnny Utah. He was our first guest on first year as a DOE teacher, one and done. So go ahead, man. Speak it up. While he's getting his answer, I want to reiterate that you'll never talk to the state. You'll never hear a word from them. You'll have a messenger who calls themselves specialist, certification specialist, but you'll never hear from them. I guarantee you that. That's a guarantee. That's a 100% guarantee. And that's all my notes for today. I want to summarize today by saying this. I am a changed man. I can thank a lot of people who helped me get here. And helped me through rough times and helped me through moments where it got to be too much. And I thank you guys. You know who they are. You know who you are. But ultimately, this is a very stressful situation that anybody could put themselves in. When you have a family, it can be overwhelming. When you're single, it can be overwhelming. You have a job that requires a lot of you, right? And the fight is that we deserve way more pay than this. And we fight for 2% almost all the time, which is kind of ridiculous. Oh, excuse me. We fight for better pensions, which is terrible. My pension is terrible. I'm in a a tier system that says if I'm not 85 and taught for 30 years, my pension sucks. But I don't live for the future. I live for now, so they could all suck my dick for all I care. It's not a lifestyle that I imagine going into. Johnny Utah, what do you mean by 65? Is that when you're going to retire? I mean, I'm 45 and I'm only 10 years in, so I'm going to be a wrinkly prune by the time I retire. But I don't plan on doing this forever, so, and that is a special thanks to the Department of Education for that one. I'm going to move on and do better things. It doesn't matter. So here's what I want to say. Thank you for listening, guys. Today was a rant. I was showing the emotions that I wear on my sleeve a lot of the time. Today's show, I left it vacant for people to chime in, but you know, my expectations were a lot more today. I see some people on, but I don't see the people that I thought I would see. Thank you for those who came on today. I have a couple of great shows lined up dealing with some other topics. I apologize for nothing because what I did today was I expressed what I felt about not a situation, but situations, plural, and my experiences. And I promise you this, whether I do it alone or not, I'm going to make some changes. Because if it's not me in the classroom, it's going to be someone else. And we can't let this go to shit. We can't. And I don't want it to go to shit. I really don't. I think education is important. I think teaching is important. I teach every day. I learn every day. And I don't think it's not salvageable. It's just that it's not something that can happen overnight. But it doesn't have to take forever either. I want you all to know that my goal for this podcast show is not to complain about everything. It's to shine light on the problems that exist. It's to uncover the things that people are so afraid to talk about. And I'm not afraid to talk about them. I am unfazed by those who say, man, Chavez, you probably shouldn't do this. Or, Chavez, man, watch what you say. Fuck you. I'll say what I want to fucking say. And I'm proud to say it. Because this shit is fucked up, man. And for the teachers that have been around, you know it. You went through the Bloomberg era. Man, let me read you something before we go. You know, there was a... man, you're going to love this. Let me bring it to your attention before we get off here. Does anybody remember the Galeno? Does anybody remember the Galeno? Sorry, I'm saying that wrong. Let me say it right. Does anybody remember the Galeno versus the Board of Education? Chime in if you remember this. Does anybody remember it? I'll wait for your responses. Does anyone remember this? Does anyone even know what this is? Glad to hear from everyone. Well, since this is pre-recorded, I'll go ahead and tell you what it was. It was a case that was done years ago, and I'll read it to you. The district court rules that the Board of Education certification exams is discriminatory and not job-related in violation of Title 8, Title 7, but denies the teacher's request to proceed as a class under particular class certification procedure in obtaining back pay for having been unjustly terminated. The court has ruled that an independent monitor will be necessary to ensure the certification exams are no longer discriminatory. As for back pay, the ruling does not stand in the way of those harmed by the discriminatory exam seeking individual damages under a different class action procedure. The press release said federal court rules against New York City Board of Education teacher exam discriminated. Are you fucking kidding me? And yet here I'm sitting here taking a goddamn arbitrary multiple choice test that is obviously not grade level, and a student with disability could not ever pass. Good thing our fucking law system works well. I'm appalled. I am appalled. So it's 9:56, guys. I'm going to close out here. I hope everybody was listening who was on. And if you weren't on, watch the playback. Because now I fucking mean business. And now I'm out for blood. This is bullshit. And if you're happy going into your building every day, I'd like to hear it. Tell me about it. I want to live vicariously through you. And if you're not, I'd like to be vindicated. Johnny Utah, we're off in 5, man. I would love to. I mean, I'll put you on, but we're gonna be signed off in a little bit, bro. If you want me to continue, I can shut this one down and we can start again. But my Instagram only allows an hour live. So that's that. And I want to say goodbye to everyone. Thank you for joining, whoever did. I truly appreciate you. I hope you all don't think I'm some kind of stick in the mud, because I'm trying not to be. I had a bad day today, and I've had bad days in the past, and I don't think that that's the way it should be. I think we should all go into our dedicated profession that we put time and money into, and be happy. And I know happiness doesn't come easy. All right, man. I wish everybody a wonderful evening. Hope to see you all tomorrow. If not, see you next weekend. If you're not on my Instagram, please please follow me at No Running in the Halls _ or JChobs on Instagram. Links are in the bio for my YouTube. And let's take us out with a song today. I'm going to use one of my favorites. This one's called Lost on You. It's kind of how I'm feeling today. Cheers to all you teachers that work hard. See y'all next time.